Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Brad again from seekfitlife.com. I'm documenting my journey as a fitness model competitor to get ready for my competition for the world titles in 24th of June 2017. And today's day is the 26th of April 2017. As I record this, I am 11 days out from stepping on the stage for my very next fitness model competition. In this video, I want to talk about how I kicked a lifelong addiction to sugar using coconut oil. So really, I've created this video because it's always been on my mind to create a video about how I kicked my sugar addiction. If you're familiar with my story, you might already know that I had a really bad addiction to refined sugar, to the point where I had to have it every day, and it was crazy. It actually took over my life. Now, it manifested like this. To give you backstory, if you're not familiar with it already, when I was growing up, I would have cans of Coke and cans of lemonade with my father, pretty much almost every day, and like 1, 2, 3, 4 cans of Coke or lemonade almost every day. And my pocket money, which I worked hard for, I would go and spend it at the convenience store a block from where we lived, and I'd buy candy. Like, I'd buy lollies in these brown bags, and I'd eat everything all at once. And so that was kind of the beginning of the sugar addiction. In fact, when I was really, really young, I had black teeth. And so I lost all my baby teeth at a very young age because they rotten before they had a chance to naturally fall out. And so that was kind of, I guess I had the sugar problem back when I was small, and then I had it right throughout my teenage years. But I grew up as an adult with the sugar addiction and like really bad cravings, and to the point where it kind of expanded into a junk food addiction, but it was still sugar addictions because I was still buying, in my early 20s when I was going through my flight training and everything and going through uni. I was going to the supermarket and buying bags of lollies. I shit you not, I was buying bags. It was just raining outside now. It's a shitty day in Melbourne today. But I was buying bags of lollies and I'd finish the whole packet. And I couldn't stop myself. I'd open it up and I'd have to finish the whole thing. And, it was relentless. I'd do this almost every day. And we're talking family-sized packets of lollies. I'd have biscuits. I'd have Tim Tams, which are biscuits. I'd have... What else did I have? Wasn't really big on chips, but definitely biscuits, like cookies. Loved cookies. Donuts were a big addiction of mine. Stupid. It's ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? But I didn't give a fuck about my health. I'm just being brutal. Like, I didn't care about my health and fitness years and years ago. I really had complete disrespect for my body. I had complete disrespect for my health. And certainly it was one of the reasons why I was sick all the time, and I had a suppressed immune system, and I, even then I didn't care. I was sick every few months. I was sick with the flu. I was sick with, I had coughing, it was like crazy. I can go on and on. I was in and out of hospital. I was really, really bad. I had no energy. I had really bad, man, I'll tell you something. I had really bad mood swings like you would not imagine. If my ex-girlfriend's watching this now, she would definitely attest to how bad my mood swings were, because I was literally on the sugar high, sugar lows. I was crashing, and it was really just the sugar, right? My blood sugar was going through the roof. And anyway, so the doctor said I was lucky I don't have diabetes, but very lucky that I didn't get type 2 diabetes, because I certainly was on the right path for it. So look, in terms of wanting to transform my body, now this is interesting because now I'm a fitness model competitor, but there's no fucking way I could have been one had I not got rid of the addiction first. So if you're watching this and you have any desire to transform your body, this is my perspective based on my own experience, is that you want to kick the addiction that you have to food, or whatever that type of addiction is you have. You want to get rid of that first, because when we're talking about a body transformation, we're talking about structuring meals, and we're talking about that kind of stuff. If you have an addiction, it makes sticking to structure really, really challenging. Like I tried the meal planning, and with the sugar addiction, it didn't work. Like, mind you, I never had anyone to show me. I had to figure this out for myself. But if I had a meal plan and I was like, oh, I've got to eat all that, and then I'd have sugar cravings, then I'd go to the supermarket, buy a bag of lollies and have that. And then in my mind, I'd be like, that's it. I've given up. Like, this doesn't work. This is ridiculous. And then I'd give back into my addiction again to sugar and to junk food. So how did I do it? I literally tried different things, but the thing that did it for me was coconut oil. I did a bit of research on the sugar addiction that I had. Now, look, I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you that the addiction is complex. Like, you know, we're talking about, it could be a habit, it could be psychological, it could be a number of factors. But for me, the one thing that I used to kick the sugar addiction that I literally had my entire life was this guy right here, was coconut oil. Now, it was understanding that, you know, the sugar addiction can be caused by a number of things. In one very common situation, you have candida, and go to Google and look it up and read about it. So Candida albicans is essentially something that's in your body which can overgrow out of control, and it's fed by sugar. So whenever you have refined sugar, you're feeding the Candida albicans, and so Candida albicans is, you know, naturally occurs within everybody, but under very controlled amounts, usually in your small intestines and so forth. But when you have too much sugar, then that Candida albicans will expand, will subdividing it bigger, and you'll have this much bigger population of Candida albicans in your body. And so of course, that is driving the addiction to have more and more sugar. And so I looked at, I was like, fuck, what are these little fucking albican things? Literally, like, this is how I was thinking back in the day. I was like, what's this Candida business? Like, what's going on here? And so I did my research on it, and I learned that coconut oil, this stuff here, contains one of the oils. So there's 3 different types of oil that make up coconut oil, and one of them is called caprylic acid. Now, you don't need to remember. Just go to Google, type in caprylic acid, type in coconut oil, caprylic acid. Anyway, doesn't matter. Coconut oil contains one of the oils is caprylic acid, and caprylic acid will actually spearhead, like, you can imagine like a war inside your body, will actually spearhead, like King Hit, if you put it in boxing terms, take down Candida albicans one by one, single-handedly, take it down, finished. And so when that happens, you know, you're slowly removing the addiction. So what I did was I took 2 tablespoons of this literally every day for the first 2 weeks. What happened was I had really, really bad headaches. Severe, like, I never get migraines and I never get headaches, but I had really bad headaches and migraines from taking coconut oil. And I Googled it. I'm like, Google, why am I getting headaches from taking coconut oil? It turns out when you have caprylic acid or coconut oil, and you have too much of it, what happens is that you're killing off the candida too fast. And so what they call candida die-off, which means that when candida dies, it releases a number of toxins into your bloodstream. Now, I can't remember the exact amount, but like candida can release up to like 80 different toxins in your body when it's dying off. And some of those toxins are neurotoxins. So usually what I read was that I was to reduce my dosage from 2 tablespoons of coconut oil every day down to 1 tablespoon. So after about 2 weeks of getting this really, really bad, like it was really bad. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? Google said, reduce your dosage. So I did, and I dropped it down to 1 tablespoon of coconut oil every day. And I did that for maybe another 4 or 5 weeks or so. So it was about 6 weeks. I can't remember the exact number of weeks, but it was like, 6-7 weeks maybe, whatever. But I was taking coconut oil, and that changed my life. It did. Absolutely, it did. And now, right as we speak right now, that was years ago. Well, if I just take that back a little bit, when I got rid of that sugar addiction, I was then able to do things that were within my control. I was able to set up a meal plan and actually figure that out and stick to it because I didn't have those cravings like I used to. Now, in saying that, it doesn't mean that I've never had refined sugar since then. Of course I have. You know, like yesterday I had 1 teaspoon of sugar in a coffee in a long black. No, not yesterday, a couple of days ago. I had 1 teaspoon of sugar in a long black. And, but I have control. Like, I'll give you context. There was a Ferrero Rocher sitting in, like, near my trophies that sat there for a couple of weeks. There was like a small block of Swiss chocolate sitting in my cupboard for about 2 months while I was going through comp prep that I never touched it. I looked at it every day and I didn't. But you know what? Years ago, it would have disintegrated. It would have literally landed in my hand and it would have spontaneously combusted in my mouth. Like, that's how bad my addiction was. Now I have complete control over it. So it's not that I don't have sugar anymore. I certainly don't have as much. And, you know, like now, every now and again, I might have stevia, but I'm in control, and that's the big difference. And so, you know, I can't remember the last time I had party mix lollies. I can't remember the last time I binged out on biscuits and chocolates and that kind of stuff. Like, I can literally have 1 or 2 or 3 squares of chocolate and I'll be done with that. Don't even have to have it. That's how crazy. I'm like, I surprise myself. And I remember back in the day when I had the really bad sugar addiction and I'd like see people reject chocolate or reject like something small, like a small sweet. And I used to think to myself, how can you reject that? Like, how can you reject that piece of, like, how can you have such good willpower? I used to think that of people. I'm like, how can you have such good willpower like that? If someone offered me a piece of it, I had to have it. Now I totally get that. You know, I mean, I'm in their shoes now. So it's really crazy. So that's kind of my backstory, and so I suggest that you maybe give this a shot. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. It worked for me, and it's, you know, it's great. So read up on it. It's called coconut oil. Of course, most people have heard of it, but caprylic. Where is it? I don't have it with me. Maybe it's in my cupboard. But you can actually buy caprylic acid tablets by Now Foods. So caprylic acid spelled caprylic, CAPRYLIC, I think. So caprylic acid. So it's one of 3 oils that are found in coconut oil. So yeah, you got to kill that candida, man. You got to get that fungal infection out of you. So candida is a yeast infection, right? So you got to get rid of it. Got to dump it, and your life will change. Let me know how you go. I'm dragging this out a little bit. Let me know how you go. Leave your comments below if you have any questions, but you know, just go to Google, honestly. But if you have any questions specific to what I went through and how I got rid of my sugar, literally, I could not have gotten where I am now if I wasn't for kicking that addiction. I certainly would not be a competitor. It just wouldn't happen. So that was certainly a transformative part of my life. If you have any questions, leave them below. More than happy to help you out. Yeah, so yeah, I was going to say the same thing again. Subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate your support. Thanks for coming back. And it's Brad here, and thank you very much. And I'll see you in another video.